Hi, I'm Tracy Smith, and here comes The Sun, a closer look at some of the people, places, and things we bring you every weekend on Sunday morning. Kristen Stewart says the path that led her from child actor to Twilight, to the tabloids, and maybe to an Oscar was as much about luck as skill. I met up with her to talk about all of the above. Can you get out without being followed by cameras?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, if I run really fast.
At 31, Kristen Stewart, like Diana herself, has become the kind of celebrity that the paparazzi can't seem to get enough of. She shrugs off comparisons with the late Princess Di, but she's fiercely proud of how she played her.
There's much more from our conversation coming up.
When I was 17, 18, I was still figuring out who the hell I was.
Yeah.
I mean, you were doing this on such a huge stage to have to be figuring out who I am, where do I fit in this world?
Yeah, I don't know if it stunts or accelerates the growth process. Probably both a little bit, at the same time. Yeah. I also have this weird, unique perspective of people. They reveal very true sides of themselves very quickly to me.
Bill Whitaker is talking with a different kind of superstar. Frank Gehry's memorable buildings are distinctive by design.
While standing outside his landmark Disney concert hall in downtown Los Angeles, we looked over at his new project going up across the street.
That's a hotel. That's an apartment building. And then you have retail.
Changing the face of LA again.
Why not?
We'll be right back. In her newest film, Kristen Stewart portrays Princess Diana, a role she found both wildly challenging and deeply personal because she so desperately wanted to get it right.
In her all too brief lifetime, Princess Diana held a few official titles, but her unofficial title, the People's Princess, is the one that stuck. She was also known as the most photographed woman in the world, her every move and every outfit captured on camera, even in her most difficult times, like the days after her separation from Prince Charles.
Whatever uncertainties the last few weeks may have brought, I want you to be certain of this. Our work together will continue unchanged.
Of course, we can't know what Diana's life was really like when she was out of camera range, but that hasn't stopped filmmakers from trying to fill in the blanks.
Your Royal Highness.
Mummy!
Family are all gathered in the drawing room. They are waiting.
Spencer, the title comes from Diana's maiden name, is, in the words of director Pablo Larraín, a fable based on true events. The events in this case are a 1991 Christmas gathering at the Queen's estate. Back when Diana's marriage to Prince Charles was going down in flames.
So stand very still and smile a lot.
And she was presumably fed up to here with the constraints of being a royal.
You have to be able to make your body do things you hate.
That you hate?
In the film, Diana is played with brittle intensity by actress Kristen Stewart. She seems to nail every detail, from her high-born accent.
There is no future. Past and the present are the same thing.
To her kind of trapped animal look, to her relationship with the press, something Stewart knows a thing or two about.
Can you get out without being followed by cameras?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, if I run really fast.
At 31, Kristen Stewart, like Diana herself, has become the kind of celebrity that the paparazzi can't seem to get enough of. She shrugs off comparisons with the late Princess Di, but she's fiercely proud of how she played her.
Tell me what you felt or thought when you first saw the movie all together.
I think it's Diana. It's probably not. It's our view of her. It's our love for her. And when I watched the movie, I couldn't stop crying. I just couldn't, because at the end it has this sort of lighter note, but I feel the loss of her so intensely, so often.
Soldier Harry, best part of Christmas so far, and I know I'll get the truth from you, sir.
When you arrive, Mummy, sir.
Thank you, sir.
To do Diana justice, Stewart spent months perfecting the princess's speech and movement.
What happens to the pheasants?
But inwardly, she was so nervous that in the days before the cameras rolled, she couldn't even get her mouth to open.
You actually had like TMJ?
Yeah. It gave my body a lot of anxiety that my mind sort of didn't really know about.
What do you think was going on there?
It's a big deal. You know, I really didn't want to mess this one up. And sometimes your body knows more than you do about your stress levels, you know. Stress can manifest so physically. It was like everyone had done such an incredible job putting together the world. I was like, all right, bro, now it's on you. And then I couldn't open my mouth. I think also everyone wanted to know if I was nervous so much. It was like, you must be freaking out playing Princess Diana. You must be just like straight tripping. I was like, I'm completely fine. I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't care. I got it. I love her.
But then somehow it opened up.
I got lucky, yeah. No, it was like, yeah. It just we got lucky, yeah.
Seems she's had her share of luck. Born in Los Angeles, Stewart started going up for on-screen roles as a child. Her parents, who both work in the movie business, reluctantly let her chase her dreams. And when she wanted to blow off an audition, her mom wouldn't let her.
I genuinely remember being like, we don't even need to do this one, and her telling me, you should just go to this last one because you have an appointment and you should not be somebody who is just like, you know what I mean? Like,
just honor your commitments.
Yeah. And thank God, because genuinely, it sounds like a story. Like in retrospect, I'm like, God, if my mom wasn't like, don't blow off your commitments, I would have not been an actor.
Do it.
By age 11, she was well on her way to stardom in movies like 2002's Panic Room, opposite Jodie Foster.
Mom, get the out of my house.
And then there was the Twilight saga.
I love you.
You started Twilight at 17, shooting Twilight at 17.
Yeah.
Were you in any way prepared for what happened?
No.
Seems no one was. In 2008, Stewart starred in the first of what would be 5 Twilight movies, based on the books about a teenage girl who falls for a handsome young vampire.
Are you afraid?
No.
By the time the final Twilight installment came out in 2012, Kristen Stewart was a household name and the highest paid actress in the world. And as if the movies alone weren't enough to keep fans in a frenzy, Stewart and co-star Robert Pattinson were a couple off-screen as well. And the tabloids could barely keep up.
There will be nothing like that in my career. You know what I mean? It's hard to compare that to anything.
There may be. There's a good chance.
I'm like, no, there won't. I'm like, no, trust me, there won't. He's a great director. Just hear him out.
Truth is, there have been a few other high points since. For her work in 2015's The Clouds of Sils Maria, she became the first American actress ever to win a César, the French equivalent of an Oscar.
In the movie.
But these days, Stewart's personal life is still making news. The most recent is her engagement to longtime girlfriend Dylan Meyer.
Are you full-on wedding planning now?
No, it's a lot. It's a daunting thing, kind of, yeah. I have a
Yeah.
lot going on right now.
Yeah, you kind of do, right? Yeah. So there's no date set, it's sometime in the future.
Yeah, I think it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. But I also don't want to be engaged for like 5 years. Like, we want to do it. You know what I mean? So
Sooner rather than later.
yeah.
For now, she's still busy with all things Diana.
I've been imagining how they'll write about me in 1,000 years. I feel royal. The more time that passes, the fewer words they use to describe you. William the Conqueror. Elizabeth the Virgin. Diana.
Critics have called her performance one of the best of the year, and she's very much in the Oscar conversation.
If I ever do become queen, what will I be?
But Kristen Stewart says she's just happy to be here.
How much of it do you think is luck?
I am so lucky. I happen to live in LA. My parents happen to be, you know, respectively script supervisor and first AD. Like, those things are so random. So yeah, I think there's just a vast amount of coincidence.
And a little bit of skill too, maybe.
Oh yeah, I'll do anything for this. I'd climb out of a ditch and rip my fingernails off for this movie. Like, and all of this sounds completely like histrionic and totally like, whatever, too much, exaggerated. Absolutely.
It's true.
Yeah, you need to like love it like a psycho. That's the only way to make something like so committed and like so true.
You can see more exclusive excerpts from our conversation in just a few minutes.
I started drawing fish in all my building projects.
Up next, the infinite imagination of Frank Gehry. His structures, his free-flowing forms and unexpected angles seem to defy physics and inspire curiosity. Here's Bill Whitaker with a look at how renowned architect Frank Gehry built his legacy.
I think I would have wanted to be an architect.
Yeah.
I love this. I love
It's not too late.
So says the architect Frank Gehry, who at 92 is not resting on his substantial laurels. While standing outside his landmark Disney concert hall in downtown Los Angeles, we looked over at his new project going up across the street.
That's a hotel. That's an apartment building. And then you have retail.
Changing the face of LA again.
Why not?
Why not? Seeking the answer to that question has led Frank Gehry to change city skylines around the globe. He and I first met in 2003 as Disney Hall was about to open.
See how these curves relate to those up there?
If the inside comforts, the outside amazes.
This is a curve, and that curve leads you into here. It fits in, yeah.
Now, almost 20 years later, it is the iconic building of Los Angeles. People come from all over the world to see this.
Wow.
What is that like for you to have created something like this?
Well, I see what I would do different.
Seriously, that's what you see?
A little bit of that, yeah.
What sounds like second-guessing, Frank Gehry calls creative insecurity. His constant questioning and his love of art are lifelong traits. He was born Frank Goldberg in Toronto, Canada. His father moved the family to Los Angeles in 1947. Gehry arrived at age 17.
My father met me at the train, and it just looked like a new world somehow. I was quite moved by it.
Los Angeles provided a fresh start, and as he began his career in architecture, Goldberg became Gehry. As his reputation grew, so did his family. In 1975, Gehry married Berta Aguilera, his second wife. They had 2 boys. He had 2 daughters from a previous marriage. It was in the 1970s, when he renovated his private home in Santa Monica using industrial materials, that he first gained national attention on his front yard.
So what did you think when the tour buses showed up?
Go away and leave me alone. Don't bother me.
Gehry would prefer that his buildings draw the attention, like the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, Spain, or the Louis Vuitton Foundation in Paris. Gehry's free-flowing forms and unexpected angles have left an impression, highlighted in The Simpsons, that he has no plan, no discipline.
Frank Gehry, you're a genius.
The impression, thanks to The Simpsons, is that a lot of your designs are extemporaneous, or even unplanned, and that is not true.
No, so later in this interview, I'm going to show you the number of models and the iterations on a project and how long it took to get to the conclusion.
Playful, light, surprising, graceful. His creations invite the eye, draw you in, embrace you. That personal touch has won him acclaim all over the world. Gehry's inspiration might seem a little surprising.
I started drawing fish in all my building projects.
To build a giant fish for the 1992 Barcelona Olympics, he adapted software created for the aerospace industry. Suddenly, his infinite imagination could take physical shape.
Did this technology free you up in some way? Did it awaken something?
Yeah, well, it allowed you to explore the movement that I was being inspired by the fish.
So you see the movement.
Movement is feeling. And how do you get a big monster building to have any feeling? And the movement makes that happen. And I think that finding a way to build it was the issue.
He found his way with the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao. It immediately was hailed a masterpiece when it opened in 1997. The aerospace software provided builders with precise calculations for shaping titanium that covers the curving exterior.
So when you go there, you see the light play with the building, especially on gray days when you really want some light, you want a feeling of warmth. All of a sudden, this metal glows beautifully.
It's a draw. People come from far and wide to see your building.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
Work is the engine that drives Frank Gehry. At his design firm in Santa Monica, there are models of almost every iteration of every project. It's a wonderland for a fan of architecture, and Gehry, as promised, gave us a tour.
So where does it start?
I don't know.
We traveled the world in here, seeing his current global projects in miniature. There's the newly opened Arts Foundation in Arles, France, where painter Vincent van Gogh spent some of his final years.
Every block is just a little bit twisted.
Gehry's tallest towers will rise in Canada.
That's Toronto, my home and native land.
Gehry Partners is a family affair. His son, Alejandro, is an artist who is painting the exteriors of a private residence designed by his father in Mexico.
So I painted just more abstract-looking pieces, some that are a little bit more geometric, and tried both on these canopies.
Clearly, it works.
Yes, it's been good, pretty good.
And Gehry's wife, Berta, has been keeping the books for 45 years.
So this really is a mom and pop shop.
Still, yes.
Yeah, so we were trying to find copper.
Sam Gehry is an architectural designer for his father's firm. They collaborated on the design of Frank and Berta's new Santa Monica home.
You're working at one of the top design firms in the world, and you go in there and everyone's a family. And I think it inspires to bring a lot out of people and to bring the best out of them.
I've been talking to your dad all day. What you just said is the first time that the truth has been spoken that this is one of the top design firms in the world, started by this gentleman right here, your dad.
That's a heavy, too.
Sorry. Someone had to say it.
So what's the greatest lesson you've learned from your dad?
Ooh. I'd say it's just that questioning of things you do. Maybe it's that creative insecurity that I'm building slowly.
That questioning is actually a challenge from Frank Gehry to all architects to elevate the art of their designs.
Think of people and how they're going to be inspired by your work and give them something to think about. That's what a painting does. That's what a sculpture does. And architecture is an art. So why not?
As promised, more from Kristen Stewart after the break. Welcome back. Kristen Stewart tells me about turning the perils of fame into insight, her directorial debut, and processing fame as a teenager, exclusively on Here Comes the Sun.
So you started Twilight at 17?
Yeah.
How'd you handle the frenzy?
I don't know. And literally, like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I would say that I guess when you look back on things, you can go like, okay, how did I get through that? I have good friends. I love my family. I have a good support system. I love what I do. I know why I do it. All of that is totally necessary to have like a remotely normal experience with the world. I feel kind of now like the weight of it is so behind me that I have kind of rose-colored glasses for it, because it wasn't, you know, it was hard to not be able to leave your house at like such a young age. The first time I really knew that like I was never gonna have any more privacy, I was like on my front porch with my dog and my ex-boyfriend in my sweatpants, barefoot. And I had never been photographed by a paparazzi in my life, let alone like on my doorstep. And obviously that changes the way that you like move through the world. And I think I was 18 at that point, and I probably would have gone to the mall more. I probably would have like, you know, done a couple more normal things, but the experience that I had in exchange was great.
It's gotta be so bizarre. I mean, I'm just thinking like, when I was 17, 18, I was still figuring out like who the hell I was.
Yeah.
I mean, you were doing this on such a huge stage to have to be figuring out who I am, where do I fit in this world?
Yeah, I don't know if it like stunts or accelerates the growth process. Probably both a little bit, you know, at the same time. Yeah. I also have this weird, unique perspective of people. Like they reveal very true sides of themselves very quickly to me. This is kind of cliche, but everyone thinks they know a famous person. Everyone kind of shows their true colors really quickly. Whereas like you get a real strong sense of someone really quick if they completely treat you like a person and they don't have weird preconceived stuff, and you go, okay, well, you're a solid sender. You're like a person. You like recognize that other people are people just having their own experiences. And then some people you're like, oh, well, you're crazy and weird and I don't like you. And being in this position actually does kind of get you to that a little bit quicker.
That's interesting, because people feel like they know you, so they reveal themselves very quickly.
Yeah, or they just like are weird and act weird around you and therefore sort of don't let you exist. And that probably says very much about what they value and how they view the world. And you're like, okay, well, me and you, not so much, but that's cool. You know, it's embarrassing to call oneself famous. Being somebody that people, you know, you can see other people in just a very unique and very different way.
Right, right. But that's interesting that you found the gift in that hey, I can tell who's fake and who's not, who sees me.
It's definitely an authenticity thing, yeah, for sure. It's like, and that also in our, in this day and age, there is nothing worse. If someone goes like, you're fake, you're like, oh, excuse me. There's nothing like coming for someone's authenticity nowadays, because we're just, whatever. I mean, it's like social media thing. We're constantly performing. Life is a performance, but not to get too heady about it, but if we're constantly filming ourselves and gauging reactions and whatever, you call someone fake, it is like fighting words. And I get it. It's all we're trying to do is just be like truthful in an environment that it is kind of odd to be truthful in.
Right. You have been prolific. You like to work. I mean, you've made rough count around 50 films, which is pretty incredible. Do you need to always have something going on?
I've been an actor for a long time. I don't want to let up on that, but I want to start making some more stuff. I want to direct a movie so badly. I'm kind of really gunning towards that. I'm kind of deep within a process that is hopefully going to make that a possibility. See, I'm talking about this like it's this like unattainable, crazy, like ephemeral thing.
It's going to happen this year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say that because I'm putting that out into the universe.
You're manifesting this.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's going to happen. So you're going to start directing this year, like actually physically directing.
We're softly prepping now. We're actually cast, which is the most exciting thing in the entire world, and it's becoming something that I can visualize in a way that is physical and real. And there's a couple things that need to happen before that, but I think by the end of this year we're going to be shooting that movie, which is I feel light as a feather. I feel like I could fly off the balcony saying that. I'm so excited about it.
I'm Tracy Smith. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Here Comes the Sun.